Hello, and thank you for joining me today to talk about exchange rates. First, let us go over the difference between nominal and real exchange rates. The nominal exchange rate, represented with an uppercase E, is known as the price of one country's currency in terms of another's. This is because if you want to do business in another country, you will usually have to do so using their currency. Now, instead, the real exchange rate takes into account price indexes, such as CPI or a GDP deflator, and is therefore known as the amount of foreign goods you can obtain in exchange for your domestic goods. Now, the real exchange rate is also known to be a better judge of prices and goods because it includes the inflation or price indexing. Now, as mentioned earlier and now seen here, the real exchange rate, lowercase e, is calculated by multiplying the nominal exchange rate, capital E, by the domestic price index divided by the foreign price index. Now, let's instead look at a few examples using demand and supply models to show movements in the exchange rate, keeping in mind that the exchange rate is on the y-axis and the quantity of money demanded will be on the x-axis. First, let's say that the market believes the value of Canadian money will increase. This will cause an increased demand for that money, shifting the demand curve right. And because this money is worth more, people are less likely to sell, and therefore supply decreases and shifts to the left. Now, what if instead Canada's interest rate had increased? Well, this causes an increase in foreign investment and therefore an increase in the demand and value of Canadian money. This also results in a shift of the demand curve right. So both of these events caused an increase in the exchange rate while the quantity stayed relatively the same. Finally, let's say that all this business has caused inflation in Canada, which now instead makes demand go down and supply go up, causing opposite shifts to what had been seen earlier. Well, this has caused the exchange rate to decrease while the quantity stayed relatively the same. There are still more causes for exchange rate shifts, such as Canadian goods becoming cheaper relative to other countries, which would cause a decrease in exchange rate, or if the country decides to just print some more money, which increases supply. Now, in the end, although there are many influences to cause the exchange rate to change, it usually remains relatively stable in the long run, unless any major events occur. So comforting. Well, thank you for joining me on my talk about exchange rates. I hope you have a lovely day.